Deep in an old, untouched field is grass that's never seen a drop of fertilizer, but you can see something red poking out. Meet the Crimson Waxcap mushroom. And trust me, once you spot her, you will never forget her. This mushroom is a large, vividly blood red mushroom known for her glossy, slippery cap and status as a vulnerable grassland jewel. Oh my gosh. And it looks like she has arrived today. Look, there she is. Crimson Waxcap, Crimson Waxcap. When you first lay eyes on the Crimson Waxcap mushroom, she kind of looks similar to Merida from Brave. That same untamed fiery red standing tall in an untamed field. Her scientific Latin name is Hygrocybe punica. She is part of the Hygroceae family. She starts life with a cone-shaped cap that flattens as she ages, in an all deep blood red. Her stem carries that same red, but fades to a yellow color or a white towards the base, like her red locks fading into a paler shade towards the roots. Her gills are thick and waxy, Crimson Waxcap, shifting from red to yellow, and she stands anywhere from 1 to 6 inches tall. Touch her and she barely reacts. Maybe a little bruising, but she doesn't dramatically change color on you. Some mushrooms, whenever you touch them or pick them, will leak stuff. So this one kind of has no reaction. Check her spore print though and you'll get a clean, crisp white, which is the same color as some of her waxcap cousins. Now I've covered a couple of wax caps on my channel, I will link those here, but one is the notable parrot wax cap. That was a fun one to design and create. I was honestly just shocked that wax cap mushrooms kind of existed. The reason for them being called wax caps is because of their waxy mushroom cap. And they generally also have waxy gills underneath. So if you imagine a candle being spilled onto a table, hardening, it is going to be that sort of texture throughout the mushroom. And quick, if you are new to my channel, my name is Holly. I make mushroom art with the brand Susrooms. I make mushroom trading cards and sticker sets if you would like to join the mushroom club and receive those. But for this specific mushroom, I had quite a bit of fun designing the card. It's totally giving primary colors, red, yellow, and blue. And I have the sticker as well. I have a couple of different stickers that I make from these, but let's move on and talk about this mushroom today. Folks call her the Scarlet Waxcap, and she's a slow colonizer, taking her sweet time to settle into a patch of grass with no glow, no smell, just quiet, stubborn confidence. She was officially named back in 1821 by Elias Mangus Fries. And get this, her genus name, Hygrocybe, actually means watery head. Which, YouTube, do not demonetize me, okay? I'm just reciting the knowledge of this mushroom. Because this mushroom holds some serious moisture, that's kind of where the nickname comes from. While punicea in Latin actually means crimson or that purplish red color. So altogether, watery head Crimson Waxcap. Don't demonetize me. Okay, moving on. She's the biggest and reddest of Europe's main wax caps. Basically the fiercest one in the field. But here's her best trick. As she ages, her red cap fades outward from the center first until she's a strong yellow or straw color by the end of her life. Like her wild red hair glowing in the sun. When designing this mushroom, specifically this design, I did really notice the cap sort of bent upwards. And that's why I decided to choose that specific design for my card. She just has a really interesting look about her, and overall I was just really intrigued. But this mushroom is actually considered globally vulnerable since the old grasslands she calls home are slowly disappearing. Her kingdom is shrinking just like Merida's home was under threat. And even though some old records call her edible, she is known to soak up a toxin called cadmium, which is a heavy metal. So not exactly a mushroom that you want to forage for food anyways. but it gets a little bit messier from there. In parts of Europe, the Crimson Waxcap was actually known as edible for a long time. It was harvested and sold to the public to consume. But in the US, she has earned a risky reputation. And honestly, most mycologists will just admire this one from afar before frying her up, especially because she's also a vulnerable mushroom, and hopefully she does not go extinct. There's a misconception about this type of mushroom and all waxcaps, that they are mycorrhizal mushrooms, which just means that they have a special bond with tree roots. They exchange nutrients under the soil. This is my favorite type of mushroom when it comes to nutrients. But for this mushroom specifically, scientists are kind of baffled. She's not a saprobic, she's not a mycorrhizal, and she's not a parasitic mushroom. So how does she get her nutrients? It's honestly a really big mystery, and some say that because she grows in the moss, that is how she obtains nutrients, is from the moss. There's a theory that believes that she is biotropic, which is a moss link, and it is debated. Again, with the moss kind of introducing nutrients to her, but she is kind of a really big mystery. The Crimson Waxcap calls the UK, Europe, and North America her home, but she is pretty picky about her territory. She wants unimproved grasslands, meaning they've never really been plowed, fertilized, or messed with in any sort of way, often with a nice mossy carpet underfoot, like a patch of ancient highland. And although her nutrient relationship is still a bit of a mystery, she is biotropic and tied to moss in some sort of way. But scientists are still debating the details. You'll see her popping up through late summer or early autumn. And once she shows up, she likes to stick around. Even though this is a very vulnerable mushroom that needs to be protected, it does stick around whenever she arrives from the surface. Her fruiting body outside of the ground is a slow rot, and she will last for a couple of weeks above ground. And because she is so picky about her habitat, a lot of scientists use her as a bioindicator of the environment around it and the soil. Meaning if you find her, you have found a genuinely healthy, undisturbed patch of grassland, a little kingdom of her own. Now, her wild meadow isn't just her home. She's got a few lookalikes trying to pass as her, so let's break down who's who, and let's tell the difference between our Crimson Waxcap and these imposters. There is one basically younger sister of our Crimson Waxcap. She's smaller, brighter scarlet, but missing that fibrous stem that our Crimson Waxcap has. This is the Scarlet Waxcap. Very similar in name and honestly very similar in looks as well. Her stem is smooth instead, and her gills run a more orange-red color, but she leaves behind that same white spore print. She's actually edible, though low value, so no real danger here. And just remember to tell the difference between these mushrooms. This mushroom is a smaller version, she has a smooth stem, and overall just looks a slightly different color than our Crimson Waxcap. So let's take a little bit deeper look at the Scarlet Waxcap. Next we have the Splendid Waxcap. What a name. She is a bit more stubborn, looking very similar to our Crimson Waxcap. She has a deep scarlet cap that refuses to fade, paired with a stem covered in twisted fibers, almost like she braided her hair before she showed up. Her gills stay waxy and an orange-red color, waxy cap. She's also got that white spore print, but her edibility is a little uncertain. So best to leave the Splendid Waxcap all alone. The giveaway between these two mushrooms is the twisted stem and the cap that just won't fade, unlike the Crimson Waxcap, which fades gracefully. So let's take a little bit closer look at the Splendid Waxcap. Okay, and this is the real troublemaker of the group. I know, I've been talking about how some of these mushrooms, absorb heavy metal toxins. This one's different. This is the Blackening Waxcap. She starts off with that yellow-orange color, which can be very similar to the Crimson Waxcap. But she has a more pointed cap. It almost looks like a flower. But if you ever mess with this mushroom, touch her, poke her, pluck her, she is suddenly going to erupt into a black color. All the way from stem to gills, this is the Blackening Waxcap. That makes sense. She's mildly poisonous, but capable of upsetting your stomach a ton. So this is one of those lookalikes you probably want to avoid altogether. The blackening part is the biggest clue. Go ahead and pick that mushroom, and if it changes to the black color, you know that you have the Blackening Waxcap. So again, let's take a closer look at those details. Moving back over to our Crimson Waxcap, let's talk about the Rarity. The Crimson Waxcap, like I've mentioned, is not exactly easy to find. She is a vulnerable species, vulnerable of going extinct because her grasslands are slowly disappearing. If the habitat of a creature, a fungi, anything is removed, slowly it will too. She is definitely considered uncommon and declining, thanks to how rare those untouched grasslands truly are. You will not find her in the market, I think that goes without saying. She is wild harvested only, but please don't harvest her. Let's not touch this mushroom, and hopefully it can repopulate. Moving on to a little bit happier scenario, let's go ahead and take a look at these different lookalikes and see if you can guess which one is the Crimson Waxcap. Whenever you're foraging through the forest, it's always good to have an idea of what the one you're looking for actually is, or so that you can best identify mushrooms in the wild. So let's go ahead and go into this forest quiz and see how many you can get right. I will have all of the answers right after the question, so let me know in the comments what your score is. Okay, I will see you in like a minute. Bye! Guys, how did you do? This one was super tricky. I was looking at these mushrooms and I was like, am I gonna tell them apart? They are so similar. But I think the reality is that the height of some of these mushrooms in the wild will give away what they are, especially, the reaction factor too. Anyways, there's a lot of different elements, but this one was probably one of my trickier quizzes, so let me know your score in the comments. So the next time you're wandering through an untouched grassland, make sure to keep your eyes open for the Crimson Waxcap, with a flash of red poking out through the grasslands. She's bold, she's wild, and fighting for her survival. A total force of nature that remains wild and hopefully free. So if you ever come across this mushroom, it would be such a delight. Make sure to take all the pictures and videos that you certainly can. And with that, I want to say thank you for watching this video. If you would like to see the behind the scenes on how I've actually made the trading card and sticker set, I also have an entire Meet the Mushroom playlist if you want to learn more about mushrooms. Go ahead and click that subscribe button, like this video if you like mushrooms, and let me know in the comments if you've ever seen the Crimson Waxcap with your eyeballs, because I want to hear your stories. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next mushroom video. Bye!